All right, Samori Benjamin here with Baltimore Orioles coach Anthony Sanders. Mr. Sanders, pleasure to interview you, man. I've definitely seen you. Yes. I've seen you a lot over the years with the Orioles. So, welcome in. I appreciate it. And I'm interested. You are the first base coach for Baltimore.
First base, I'm in charge of the base running in the outfield.
Awesome. And I know you played in the major leagues as well. So, but first, where were you originally from?
I'm born and raised in Tucson, Arizona.
Okay.
I got drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays in 1992, and a lot of time in the minor leagues, played like 15 years. Got a little service time in the big leagues, and then bounced around with a couple teams. And I started coaching with the Rockies for 14 years, all in the minor leagues at all different levels, and then I've been blessed to be here with the Orioles for the last 6 years.
Yeah, that's very interesting because you say you got drafted by Toronto in '92. I know '92 they won their first World Series, so I mean that must have been incredible just being drafted at the time by I guess at the time they had not won the World Series yet, right? Because you got drafted in the middle of '92.
Yeah, when I got drafted in '92 and then '93, they did a repeat.
Yeah.
I saw all the talents they had over there with Mr. Pat Gillick, how he put that together, and all the superstars over there. And basically, it was like the Yankees back in the day, how Toronto was.
Yeah.
So a lot of good ball players that came up through there. And so.
You know what? So I remember because I grew up not too far from here, like over the bridge in uptown Manhattan. And so, I remember very well that Toronto team, like you said, they were like the Yankees. The Yankees were trying to catch them at that time. '92 actually was the Yankees' last losing season. And '93, the Yankees, made a run at Toronto, lost to them, but a star team, Joe Carter, Alomar, definitely. Now, okay, so you said you are from Arizona, Tucson. What was it like just growing up and playing baseball?
Yeah, I played all three sports, in high school, and I encourage all my kids and all the kids when I go to different camps to do the same thing. I think there's a lot of life lessons learned on other fields and courts, that translate to really good athletes on the baseball field.
Yeah. How many, of your black peers when you were growing up were into baseball, playing baseball?
Yeah. Out in Arizona, not many, man. Myself was probably one, if not two, on every team. I coached all my kids in Little League and stuff, and it was the same there. I have to go out and recruit other African-American kids to try it out and get them away from football and basketball. And to this day, I'm still, ambassador for that and trying to get more kids involved in Baltimore and everywhere else.
Yeah, as you travel around the country, and I guess in Baltimore first, how much of the black community do you see in Baltimore really into baseball?
They're out there, man. My kids have went to a couple different HBCUs, so I've seen a lot of good athletes everywhere. My kids have been to Breakthrough Series, the Hank Aaron stuff, so it's good to see some of those kids slowly starting getting into the big leagues. But it's usually like, gotta be the very best, or there's nothing in between. Like, are they high rounders, or there's nothing in between. But we just gotta keep the push and keep these kids involved at a young age with all the club ball and everything else.
So you said your kids, they went to HBCUs?
Yes, sir.
Which school? I did too.
Yeah, they went to Southern a couple of years ago.
Awesome. Yes. We both did. Okay, cool. I went to Norfolk State. We got Mike Vick as our head coach now. Shout out to Mike Vick. Okay, so now at that time, I know you had the Diamondbacks were not even in Arizona at the time. Suns were there, basketball. So, and then you had the Cardinals came there. They were in St. Louis first, then got to Arizona. So, were you a fan of any team coming up in Arizona?
Tell you, but not really. My main focus was football at the time. When I lived down in Tucson, kind of a couple hours from Phoenix. So my first interaction with Major League Baseball wasn't until I really got drafted. Okay. And then, then I started seeing all the Latin American players and the diversity in the game. And man, the game has changed before our eyes since 1992 to now.
Yes, it has. Now, how did you get into baseball? No pro team in there, Arizona. A lot of your black players not into it. How did you get into it?
And I tell a lot of kids this, and it don't matter what race or background you come from. It don't matter where you're playing, what division or what level. If you can play and there's some skill in you, there's scouts that will find you.
So how did you get into the game? How did you get interested in baseball?
My pops, I got a very close family. My dad coached all my Little League teams, and I had older brothers who played a little bit. So I was involved in pretty much all the youth sports at a young age.
I had a feeling you want to say your dad. That's why I asked you, because that's very important. Now, did you go to college, or were you drafted out of high school?
I got drafted out of high school.
Okay, so now when you got drafted out of high school, what round was it? And I know I guess you get kind of second, but how did you feel at the time?
Yeah, I got drafted in the 7th round, and like I said, my main focus was to go play football or major D1, and baseball ended up being my direction.
Now, did you have a chance to play D1 in football?
I signed out of high school, so I had to go and
so there was no recruit like scholarship offers to go to college football.
Yeah, I pretty much had. I could have went probably a lot of different places to play, but I ended up choosing baseball.
Awesome. So what position did you play?
I played quarterback.
Oh wow, black quarterback. That's deep, man. That's deep. At that time, it was not easy for a black quarterback, man. So I mean, that might have had a part of that might have played the decision to not continue playing football. You know what I'm saying? Because at that time, there was hardly any black quarterback playing.
Yeah, and then speaking about the HBCUs, my middle one, who's a 5th-year senior, is going to Coppin State in Baltimore.
Awesome.
So he's there now.
Yeah.
So it's fun to see a lot of those kids come out to our games in Baltimore, and it just gives them hope and dreams when they see other people out on the field that look like them.
Yeah, another HBCU, and yeah, I mean, I said I went to Norfolk State, and Coppin was in the MEAC where Norfolk State was, but like that whole conference like died down because some of the schools like discontinued the baseball program. You know, so not a lot of Americans interested. Okay. So now that's awesome. So you're a quarterback also. Did you have any heroes growing up?
Man, I used to love like Randall Cunningham, then Michael Vick, and then obviously Ken Griffey Jr. And I really like the athletes on the baseball field and the football field.
Definitely.
Lamar Jackson right now, what he's doing in Baltimore, it just looks different than everything else.
Yeah. And of course, shout out to Doug Williams, 1987 Super Bowl, first black quarterback to not only play but win. Blew away John Elway. Okay, so now the minor league. What was the minor league like for you? Coming out of high school in the minor league, you were in there for about 7 years or so. What was the first big adjustment for you, and how was the experience?
Yeah, just being away from home as a high school kid, and the grind, different kids from all different backgrounds, having, to learn Spanish a little bit, to communicate with coaches and managers. It's just the grind. Anybody who's survived in the game with all the changes understand that. I had to go to like every level. Back then it was rookie ball, 3 different A balls, double A, triple A, and then get to the big leagues. And right now they've cut out a lot of different teams, so the path for a lot of these kids is a little bit different.
So how was it for you? 7 years later, you finally get the call and then you make like debut with Toronto, 99.
Awesome. Every kid's dream, man. You do stuff the right way and work hard, and you can look yourself in the mirror and say, I did everything possible and everything the right way to get there, and no one can take that away from you.
So who was the team that you played the first time you got on the baseball field with the Blue Jays?
Well, I think it was in Anaheim. Out in California. I made my debut out there.
And I know you. So that Toronto team. I mean, was Orlando Hudson there yet?
Hudson was a baby back then. It was like Shannon Stewart, all those guys. Sean Green and Delgado were some of the veterans on that team. So,
and I think even former Yankee champion Homer Wood was on that team too, right? Homer?
I know Homer really well. Played with him out in the Arizona Fall League, awesome. And I got to meet his son. My son goes to Grand Canyon where his son went. It seems like there's a lot of African Americans that, as coaches and players that, we stay in the game and we communicate and, try to help each other.
Awesome. So then I know you moved on to Seattle 2001, and in fact, the Mariners just won the division for the first time since 2001. I mean, that team in 2001 won 160 games regular season and all that. I mean, so what was it like to be a part of that team?
Unbelievable. I mean, you go into spring training with a veteran group like that with high expectations to win the World Series, there's nothing like it. And when you're winning, clubhouse and everything just a little bit better.
And that was a very interesting time because the Mariners had just traded Griffey Jr. Ichiro comes in. A-Rod had just left too. Both of them were gone. Ichiro comes in the rookie year. So how do you think, Will survival of the city like losing like 2 stars, and then you guys go on to have this all-time regular season?
Yeah, as a young kid who was playing the role of the 4th, 5th outfielder, man, just had to kind of stay ready, but also did a lot for me by just learning, sitting back and watching how these guys go about their business every day. And there's no mistake why that team was successful.
And what was it like playing for another former Yankee, Lou Piniella?
Yeah, just an older veteran manager, that he could write out the same lineup every day, and you just had to be patient. But again, a guy that has tons of knowledge that just sit back and learn from.
Got about 3 more for you. Okay, so now how did you end up getting into coaching?
Towards my last couple of years, there was a couple different offers out there, and I kept wanting to play. An opportunity came with the Rockies. I got to be able to stay home with my 3 little kids, and then go 15 minutes down to the park. So I tried it out and fell in love with it right away.
Definitely, man. And what's been your best experience, best part about being a coach and being involved here now after your playing days?
Yeah, to me, I mean, all these young kids that get to come up every year, I get to experience their first major league hit, walking around different stadiums, showing the outfield, and just the excitement and joy when these young kids have put the work in. It's just a special time. I don't take any days out here for granted.
Yeah, okay, last 3 for you. Okay, now, what was the best part, your best memory about your major league career?
I just the journey more than anything for me. The journey, the relationships along the way, and just all the people that kind of helped you get to the point where you want to be to.
And who was the most talented teammate that you ever had?
And I got to see a lot of really good players. I could probably mention a couple of guys that nobody would ever know their name that never made it to the major league.
That's great, That's great.
So that's part of the game. And I got to see guys like Julian Yan and Robert Perez and some other guys from other countries that put up monster numbers, man, that never probably made much time in the big leagues.
With Toronto organization?
With Toronto, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, 2 great names. I'll look up. Last one for you. As a coach, who's the most talented ball player that you've had the pleasure of coaching?
Man, we got some. I'd have to stay with some of these Orioles kids, man. With our youth here and some of these young kids, the future's bright. You put their age together with the talent they have. I mean, I'm not going to really throw no names, but you can just look down our roster and you can see it coming.
No doubt, yeah. A lot of talented ball players here that I got a chance to meet over the last couple of years. And interesting because Jeremiah Jackson, Mr. Alabama, 2018. Gunnar Henderson, 2019, Mr. Alabama. So that's cool. The teammates. Hey, Anthony Sanders, Baltimore Orioles coach, first base coach, and hey, appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.
All right, folks.